So now I would like to introduce our first session of the day by handing over to Sam Kumari, our most admired and respected rock of the community, technical director at the MojaLoop Foundation, long service award winner, and perhaps the man most responsible for keeping our code in good order, diligent reviewer of thousands of pull requests, resolute attender of many thousands of Zoom calls, meetings, and Slack chats. This man's dedication to MojaLoop is unrivaled. Thank you, Sam. And over to you to update us on the work that's happened recently in the platform quality and security workstream, and to give us, I understand, some information on our current and upcoming code releases. Sam, take it away.
Thank you, James. It was quite elegant and flattering as well. Thanks for the kind words, James. Of course, we're building on the people and the contributions that came before us. So let me start sharing. Can one of you please confirm you can see my screen, and then we'll go from here.
Looks good, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Hello, everyone again. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And thanks for joining for the MojaCom 31 meetings. It was great to see a huge participation yesterday. We're hoping that will continue today and tomorrow as well. And I took the liberty to combine the first two sessions today, deploying MojaLoop and platform quality and security, which are inseparable anyway and interdependent. So quickly to go through the agenda, we'll cover not at a detailed level, but at a very high level, what we had in the MojaLoop's current official release, the latest one. Then what's coming next? We have a release candidate for MojaLoop version 17.3.0. We look at a high level on what we did at the core team and the platform quality and security work stream, the past PI. And then we will invite some of our system integrators. We've reached out to about 4 of our system integrators, and we have representatives from 2 or 3 of them who gave their preference to join this. And we'll do a quick question and answer so that the community can benefit from their answers and experiences. And also we can learn as a community and even at the workstream level from their experiences, thoughts, and answers. We will end with what our current focus is, what we are doing, and how that shapes our objectives for the upcoming program increment PI 31 as well. So at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to share in the Zoom chat, even though I may not be able to look at it live. I will look at it during when I get a break while others are answering the questions, or maybe Bloom or James, one of the staff members, can flag it and we can answer that. So before going to the release detail, I wanted to give a quick snapshot, a very short one, of where we are in terms of timeline. Starting June 2016, had the kickoff, and then in February of 2018, the MojaLoop FSPOP API launched as a standard. Of course, MojaLoop was announced publicly on October 7, 2017. Hopefully tomorrow we can cover a bit more on that. And the current latest release, for those of you who got it correctly in the Kahoot quiz, MojaLoop version 17.2.0, released in the last PI. So in that release, we had obviously huge performance improvements for those of you who've been joining these community events and following MojaLoop more closely. The past 2 or 3 program increment is the term we use to capture the period between our MojaCom events, which comes to about 4 months roughly, 4.5 in some cases. During this PI, the past PI, we covered updates on quality and security. As usual, vulnerability management is a continuous process. We are continually improving our security practices and quality maintenance practices as well. There were fixes to FX and inter-scheme feature, deployment enhancements, and there were some changes made to how the images are deployed because of changes in the Bitnami registry as well. And this PI will look at what's coming in 17.3.0. We have a release candidate, which is an initial temporary code base, which is a draft pull request on our MojaLoop Helm repo, which is kind of the bundle of all the MojaLoop services that are included in the MojaLoop release. And we iterate over this for quite a bit to ensure that we go through the release checklist, testing all our use cases, all the test collections we have. We get feedback from some downstream tooling work streams in some cases, or even SIs and adopters who are willing to take on an early test of the release candidate as well. So for that, we have a few things in mind. I have a slide for that. Won't go through every slide in detail, but gives a quick overview of what MojaLoop core is and what the MojaLoop platform is and the various components as part of that. We have connectors, supporting services, testing tools, portals, monitoring options, a gateway, and then infrastructure layer as well for deployment. And the MojaLoop infrastructure as code, we have two versions of it now. An ISC Lite version, which is a more recent version that we'll discuss in other places as well. So for MojaLoop 17.2.0, obviously it comes out of the box with all these use cases, but the points highlighted here are where the improvements, enhancements, or changes happen. There were fixes and some enhancements to the FX and enter scheme feature, and ISO 20022 messaging as well. Then there were some performance improvements along with quality and security improvements as well. So in terms of performance, in the last 2 or 3 PIs did a lot of performance work. We have a dedicated work stream for that, which was instrumental and which actually produced a white paper on MojaLoop performance. And this work stream is now continuing to have a second round of that. And the target is that we'll have another version of that or an iteration of the white paper as well in the future. I think James, as a workstream lead, will announce more on that later on. And then these are the usual resources updates and the use cases that are already present. I don't want to highlight that in this case. I want to give more time to our representatives from SIs who have graciously accepted and are going to join us for a roundtable Q&A a bit later. Before that, I wanted to quickly cover the work of the workstream. I also want to call out the core team members, 3 of them, especially at this time, Shashikant, Shashi, Juan Korea, and Yevan. So we have Shashi from Mexico, Juan in the US, and Yevan in Ukraine, who are core team members. We are also ably supported by our other work streams and MojaLoop Foundation staff. And I'm also happy to share many interns and community contributors as well from several programs such as Community for GovTech and Youth Tech Singapore, who has recently joined us and collaborated with us as well. But these 3 team members are pillars and cornerstones in their own area. Shashi focusing on performance, Juan on quality and security, and maintenance of our GitHub org, and then Yevan focusing on the MojaLoop Connection Manager, identity management, and where it interacts with onboarding of DFSPs and IAC Lite as well, things like that, supporting the owners in those areas. Thank you all, guys. And the updates we have and everything that I'm sharing here is the work from the team and all the work streams who worked so hard to deliver this at the quality that MojaLoop prescribes. So in 17.2.0, why do we need to upgrade to this version? So you've seen this before, but again, I cannot emphasize this enough, improved performance. So we recently, in the white paper, we covered various runs doing financial transfers per second in the range of 500 transfers per second. There's also a scenario for 1,000 TPS, and then another scenario which we are yet to finish, but we got close to 2,000 TPS as well. In the second round, we want to repeat those runs. We got some feedback from SIs and adopters after the publication of the white paper, where they wanted more stringent standards, encryption enabled in other areas that weren't done before. So we have taken the feedback from SIs. Thank you for the feedback and from the community members. And that has now been incorporated. Recently we had results for 500 TPS with the new configuration, new changes. The results are looking quite good. We are now progressing into running 1,000 TPS and 2,000 TPS. But another objective also of this iteration is to ensure that we find the minimum amount of resources or the resource footprint which can give us this TPS. So one of the the reasons to adopt the latest version of MojaLoop is to take advantage of the work that is happening as part of the performance work stream. MojaLoop 17.20 has been, we are pleased with the performance it is giving. We are going to profile that and publish numbers that we are observing MojaLoop 17.20, and the same with 17.30 as well. Even more performance fixes. For example, there were fixes related to the ports creation, some memory leaks, things like that, which will come with this. We also worked with one of our adopters to address a performance issue in one of the features, and fixes to that will be included in the upcoming release as well by default. Of course, there's always updates from vulnerability management like patching and package upgrades. So to ensure we have enhanced security in our new releases, we have clean releases at the time of publication and maintenance after that. There are several bug fixes in notification mechanism in FX and interscheme as well, and fixes to Helm registry issues. So when 17.10 module was released, there was a change in how Bitnami made their charts and images available. That broke some of our default configuration and default Helm releases. So that was fixed in 17.20, and we'll continue to evolve from that as well. And another low-key benefit of upgrading is that having a good CI CD process as part of the deployment infrastructure is that this helps us future-proof for changes that are coming. For example, the next MojaLoop release that we are targeting, the major one, version 18 of MojaLoop, which includes Tiger Beetle integration, and even more exciting features. For example, version 3 of settlement, new accounting model, more performance improvements. So doing upgrades now will help future-proof your deployment for the future as well. So these are some of the good reasons. But if you need more, please reach out to me or one of the core team members, and we'll be happy to discuss. So here we can see what's coming in version 17.30 release as well. There was a feature that was requested at the design authority to perform JWS validation at the switch. Previously, so obviously JSON web signature verification is to ensure non-repudiability or end-to-end security between two entities at the edges. Typically in a P2P use case, for example, a payer DFSP and a payer DFSP, the switch was mostly doing a pass-through, but the DA, the majority of the DA members agreed to do a validation at the switch as well to reduce noise essentially, and minimize cases where even messages that fail JWS are propagated. So this has been implemented and will be rolled out with our next release. There are performance fixes that I touched on before and other improvements that are coming as well. So this is on the release side, and on the quality and security side, this PI, I think, helped us clean up a lot of issues. So we haven't looked at the MojaLoop CI/CD supply chain for quite a bit, and we took an opportunity this last PI to set aside for a few days all of our feature work to focus on our supply chain and a continuous integration and continuous deployment, especially the release cycle of MojaLoop's images and Helm charts. And during this audit that we conducted, we found out several issues. So as part of that, we were able to harden our license scanner. We started using a new mechanism to validate our licenses as well. So there is a list that is maintained by Linux Foundation, SPDX, a list which has semantics for license, every license, a particular identifier, and some description there. So we've done a lot of work on this, and this is now included as part of the Circle CI orb that we use that runs as part of every CI run. So the tooling and release paths, also we made a lot of enhancements and optimizations. Previously, we had a software bill of material introduced, I think about 3 PIs ago. But now we are using that mechanism to optimize the path as well, where there was some redundancy and duplication before. Yeah, so this is huge, and we are very, very happy to address all the critical and high vulnerability issues in the release mechanism, and protect ourselves from any supply chain related attacks with the evolving landscape in technology as well. So with that, I want to take this opportunity to have a Q&A on the MojaLoop releases side first, and then platform quality and security. So first, for the MojaLoop releases and upgrading MojaLoop topic, I want to invite Adrian from Ablipe, and we have Max, a team lead from Wired. Both of you, thank you so much for joining this session today. Adrian, let me stop the sharing so that we can see you both. Adrian, thanks for being there.
Hello. Here.
Hi. Max, are you ready as well?
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Hi. Thank you. Can we spotlight Max and Adrian? I see spotlighted Max as well. Thank you both. So we'll start with the first question. Which modular versions have you worked with? And if there is one, what is your favorite version? And do you have any specifics on MojaLoop 17.2.0? Adrian, maybe we can start with you.
Okay. Okay. So the versions I handled. So I just joined Ably last year. We started with version 16 first, and that was we're not yet part of the performance work stream, but to join the performance work stream, we upgraded to our current version, which is 17.2. So those are the two versions that we'd work with. So for 17.2, I think for the specifics, yeah, it's the common our use case is a little bit more simple. It's just coding and transferring. So P2P without the ALS, and also P2M as well. So
thanks, Adrian. Max, can we have you answer the same question?
Yes, please. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. So my experience with versions. So I've worked extensively with MojaLoop since version 16, MojaLoop Congo. So and in the near future, we're planning to upgrade to the latest. So every version has a unique strength, but I have my two favorites that stand out for specific reasons. My favorite one is still version 16. I enjoyed this because it introduced massive performance strips, particularly in central ledger batching on prepare and also on the position. So that was a massive performance strip. And the second one is version 17.1.0. So I highly value this release because of this crucial upgrade on the database driver on the MySQL 2. This one is very crucial. And also the introduction of the hem chart provenance. That means now the release are more secure, and also the deployment. You have to verify the ham chart before upgrading. So that means no one in the middle can change the release, and so you won't be able to verify that. So that's my two favorite versions for now. So looking forward to the latest. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. We have Paul Baker from Infotech on the call as well. Paul, if I remember correctly, was the engineering lead at Infotech. Paul, can you please answer the same question? I'll repeat it. Which MojaLoop versions have you worked with? Let me say recently, what's your favorite version if you have one? Any specifics on MojaLoop version 17.2.0 that you'd like to share with us?
Thanks, Sam. Yes, love to talk about MojaLoop. So I would say we've tried all the versions. We make a point of staying very close to the main branch, which means our upgrades effort is minimized. And our favorite version is always the latest, because the latest always has the best improvements and features around that. as long as you do the checks and the quality around that. Yes, specifically 17.2, we don't deploy exactly that version. We have a couple of improvements that we have been building on around the logging standard that haven't yet been ready to contribute. So we take the 17.2 and we include our enhancements in that release, and that's what we've been testing. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate all of your responses, Adrian, Max, and Paul. And want to touch on one thing Max mentioned as well. Version 16, I have to say I'm impressed. I would call it my favorite version, but recently we were testing an upgrade scenario and version 16 still runs fantastic. I mean, it deploys well. We get 100% pass rate with version 16 tests. And we did that recently to test out how we can demonstrate an upgrade from version 16 to version 17.0. So thanks, Max, for that. And if you have any issues upgrading or questions about later on, happy to answer that. The next question, maybe we can go from you, Paul, because you started to touch on that already. The question is, how do you handle continuous integration, continuous deployment setup for your implementation or projects? Whatever you can share publicly, I think we appreciate that.
Yes. So this has been a big focus of us at Infotex, and I would like to actually just call out my my engineering team who really managed to turn this vision into a reality. They highly skilled and highly motivated, and want to support MojaLoop. So we have what I would describe as a continuous integration, continuous deployment, and automated release. So we have that set up. So let me describe quickly what that means. So when code and enhancements are done and they're merged into the MojaLoop stack, there is a quality gate. There's the MojaLoop standards. We scan and test and make sure that the right functional and code coverage tests are in place for those features that are being added. When that passes, those assets are built and then automatically deployed into our on-premise hardware environment. So that deployment is automated. Nobody needs to do anything. And that deployment then triggers a release testing process. So let me describe what's in that release testing process. Is that we first run the MojaLoop Golden Path test, which is a functional test of the whole framework. But then we also have end-to-end tests, and these tests go through the security layers and then test the specific use cases that are important to our clients. So we have sort of a client specific set of tests that we run on top of that. But then we've got all these other non-functional tests as well, like we test the certificate exchange and onboarding automatically. We do a performance check. We do some scans and penetration tests automatically. And we check for our back security layers are in place and working fine. Should all these tests pass, we then automate that into a release. So we package that together, we version it, and we basically create an asset that we can then deploy into our other testing environments, because our testing is not finished yet. We then do some quality assurance testing where we test upgrades and redeploys. And then we also do our non-functional tests in our OAT environment where we test availability and the load and resilience.
Thank you, Paul. Before I comment that, I want to give a chance to Max and Adrian. Max, do you want to share your thoughts on that as well? So the question is, how do you handle CI/CD setup for your implementation of projects? Anything you can share with us on that?
Yes. So in our CI/CD setup, we utilize heavy automated pipeline via GitHub CI. So actually, every pull request acts as a strict gateway. Before any code is merged, the pipeline automatically runs static code analysis and security vulnerabilities. Once the code passes the analysis, Docker images are built and pushed directly into our private registry. So ensuring that no unverified or vulnerable image can never be pushed or pulled into the environment. The same applies to the Helm charts. That means we create a pull request, then we scan the vulnerability on the versions, then we build automatically the Helm release. So, and also during upgrade or during installation, we verify using the key so that we make sure we deploy the version which is secure and also the version that not has been tampered. That's what I can say on our CI/CD pipelines.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate the response. Adrian.
For our end, it's quite similar to what Max has. Like we use GitHub Actions to build our run our test, and also like we have this API on top of MojaLoop that we're trying to build, so that runs in our CI. We also build the Docker images inside GitHub, and we make sure that whatever you're pushing, make sure that it doesn't break our production setup or our dev setup. We also have like a lot of test environments that's hosted in GCP. We're currently in GCP right now. So if let's say you have this long running feature branch, you can push it there and we can run our automated tests to make sure that whatever you're merging first, it doesn't break. And also we have like a manual QA process currently right now to somewhat automate, but also like we're not at the level at what Infotix has, right? So we're still working on to our end-to-end test, and essentially like everything goes to main. Then once we comfortable to actually make a release, then we'll manually have to do the release first. So
Cool. Thanks, Adrian, Max, and Paul for sharing the CI/CD processes. One of the points of alignment we discussed before in the first session, I think, was having a good CI/CD approach, which makes it easy for iterating through the releases to ensure that it doesn't break your processes, so that you have a CI process first that tests the changes, and then CD where you accept changes once you're happy with the new releases, the features, and everything that's going on there. So really appreciate your input there, and good to see the processes that you already have in place. And hopefully it will help our future prospective doctors to follow best practices there as well. Thank you. So last question on this side of things, about upgrading MojaLoop and MojaLoop releases. Can you share your experiences with not just deploying MojaLoop, but upgrading where you have done that? Maybe we can go from the first again. Adrian.
Okay. My experience on this one is a bit limited again. So the only major upgrade experience I had was 16 to 17. When I upgraded that using our dev stack, it was pretty smooth. Never ran some issues with the migrations, and the tests were all running. Then when I upgraded from 17 to 17.10, then 17.2, and when 17.3 comes out, I probably will do it as well. I don't really expect any issues, but for most of the time, like with the entire process of upgrading with MojaLoop, it's even with a major release, like it's been smooth sailing. Never ran some issues with them.
Thank you, Adrian. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue that with the Tiger Beetle ledger-based versions as well. But Max, any thoughts you can share us with regarding that?
My experience also on the upgrading from one release to another is also limited. But I had the chance to upgrade from 17.0.0 to 17.1.0. So there only were some big bug fixes in the TTK. So no major changes. It was straightforward. no issues. So far I can say a positive experience.
Yeah, great to hear that, Max. And as we heard from Adrian, upgrading from 16 to version 17 was smooth as well. So hopefully anyone who is still on 16 can take heart from what we are hearing here from our size as well. Paul.
Yeah, sure.
Um, because we stay close to the main branch, our upgrades, we do it all the time, and our upgrades aren't that are manageable, let's put it that way. But to say that upgrading is easy, I think, or trivial would is not quite right. You know, there's a drift in the configuration. There are sometimes breaking changes that need to be taken into consideration. So, upgrading must be considered an important thing to do and needs to be done properly and well. But if you do it regularly, it's much simpler. So if you leave it for longer and that upgrade is larger, then it tends to take even more effort. Our philosophy has been upgrade as often as possible, and I think that makes it manageable.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks all three of you for agreeing to join this discussion again and sharing your inputs. For me, they're very valuable, especially hearing from you and from real experiences. So we will go into the next set of questions. I think Adrian, you and Paul agreed to join in for the quality and security as well. Max, thanks for joining. I think we'll have Bona from Widen for the next one.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was nice.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
So Bona, please join us here, and we'll start with Paul this time on the questions for modular platform quality and security. So what I'll do is quickly share my screen just to give a view of the questions, and then we'll go back to the roundtable view. Bona, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So here are the three questions I have, but we'll go one by one. First one, what does platform quality and security mean at a high level based on your experience with implementations and deployments? So I'll stop there and we'll go to our panelist, Paul.
Okay, so I wish this was a simple answer, but it's not. So I would start off by saying code quality is important. And the MojaLoop standards and the CR process that being put in place really goes a long way to support that, and it's really highly appreciated. But on top of that, you also get operational quality. Operational quality, the GitOps, the infrastructure as code allows you to repeat deployments and to have consistency in the deployments. That goes a long way. That also supported with the observability, a good visibility of what's going on in the platform, and then the runbooks, that gives and the chaos engineering, that gives you sort of operational quality. Data integrity is also important. Data integrity, I see that's some of it's covered by how MojaLoop is designed. So the item potency and the non-repudiability, those are key. And also then what we have is we run a zero trust network, so everything being encrypted at all times clearly supports that as well. And then that also moves to backups and disaster recovery as well. So that's a key part of that. And then the other part I would like to say is secure by design. That's a key part. So the zero trust network again, and ensuring that we have those mutual TLS internally as well as externally. And that we got the proper RBACs in place to make sure that we have the security and really alignment with the 27001 ISO. And then lastly is compliance. And everything else I've really been talking about is based on compliance, but sometimes you need to also then look after the audit trail and the work that the foundation's doing around the forensic auditing and the tamper evidence of the auditing is obviously also going to support that integrity.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, it's not an easy question, but I wanted to quickly capture the thoughts top of mind and priorities, and even then there's a lot there. So thanks for sharing that. Maybe we can go to Adrian, then come to Bona.
I think Paul already captured some majority of it. Again, I really like what MojaLoop has been doing in terms of it's like a North Star you should try to achieve when in terms of platform quality. Because majority of the time that there's a lot of people that just deploy code and don't really care about it. So I've really seen the code in MojaLoop is really well documented. There's tests to cover cases on and also it's just really easy for people to adopt and to just deploy it. So yeah. So again, thanks for being well documented, well tested, and quality is really there. So
thank you, Adrian. Yeah, credit I think goes to all our contributors, not just the
yeah.
foundation staff, but also the work streams and everyone who's doing this
Yep.
work. So I'll repeat the question, and then maybe Bona, you can give your thoughts on this. So when you think of platform quality and security, what does it mean at a high level for your implementations or deployments?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. For our case, when it comes to quality, mostly as Paul and Adrian mentioned, code quality obviously comes first. And I think so far we have two deployments right now, one on 16 and another one on 17. We've not had any problem in either. So code quality comes first, and then that compared with other operational efficiency, make sure that deployments can run smoothly without any regression and anything. So when it comes to quality, that's probably number one. And another thing, especially when you look at Rwanda, for example, the performance and operation under peak load is also a big something we've previously added performance testing in every deployment we make. That is linked to the increasing load in the switch, but that also comes as a number one requirement when we define quality in the switch. And then in terms of security, it's the usual. We have to make sure that mainly on the message exchanges between MojaLoop switch and participants, we have to make sure that we maintain no repudiation, all basic security standards as are necessary in a switch or in a national switch in our case. And then, of course, there are some internal, I think we mentioned before that there are some standards or policies when it comes to even internal components communication, like all messages have to be signed or at least have an HMAC signature, or better, encrypted, regardless of whether it's a message that is going external or internal components. So those things have to always be there, all on the goal of making it harder. But even in an unlikely situation where there is a problem, to make it even more harder for any compromise to happen at all in the switch. So that's what those two terms mean, at least for us right now. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you for sharing that. Very insightful. Thanks to all three of you for sharing that. Without going too much or my feedback on that, can I quickly ask a follow-up to that? How comfortable are you with the MojaLoop platform's quality and security processes? I know that you somewhat covered that already. Maybe, Bona, we can start with you. How comfortable are you with MojaLoop platform's quality and security processes? I think this can serve as an input to our platform quality and security workstream, but also to our overall community, because your experience is based on real implementation. So value that very much, even if might sound difficult to accept at this stage. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So for me and for everyone in the team here, we've been very comfortable. As Max mentioned, we started with 16, we upgraded 17.0 to 0.1. And I think Adrian touched on that a little bit as well. Everything is fully tested, at least when you are starting from 0.0. Everything is documented. So those two, for any engineer, that's already a good starting point. Of course, there are other peripherals that have to come when it comes to infrastructure and so on, depending on the environment. But even looking at the incidents that we've experienced so far, most of them do come from all those peripherals. But as far as MojaLoop switch is concerned, we've been very comfortable and very satisfied with everything so far.
Thank you, Bon. Adrian, so how comfortable are you with the MojaLoop platform's quality and security processes, and do you have any feedback or advice?
I think in terms of this one, I like in the current landscape of tech right now, it's really like rapidly changing, and in light of AI, there's like it's just like really it's just accelerated it more, like even like 100%, I think, or even double, to be honest. And you get like a lot of platform issues coming up, and even like hackers coming into the platform to GitHub and actually just trying to access, like adding worms to particular packages. We were actually almost affected with one of the libraries that we were using, TanStack. The good thing is like we were delayed in terms of upgrading. That's why we weren't affected. But in light of AI coming in and doing majority of the work, like I'm pretty confident like MojaLoop it can or even the quality and security that you currently have in place, it's good enough. But of course, there's still more improvements. And I think if ever there's an incident that comes up, I think we can like I have full faith that you guys can you know jump onto it, like address it immediately, and just fix it. So.
Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, happy to help with, happy to work with our SI community, adopter community, and the overall community of contributors as well. I don't know if you were referring to the TAN attack, the supply chain attack that happened, I think, about 4 or so weeks ago,
Yeah.
or 5. Yeah, and in fact, I was reading that, and that's what kind of motivated us to do like a clean the beach activity where we set aside everything and wanted to look at our own supply chain and release management updates. I covered about upgrading our license checker and our Circle CI or came out of that. I didn't share it then, but that was the inspiration behind it. Obviously, we're not affected by it at the time, but want to make sure we take a introspect and take a look at our own processes. And we found some places where some of the processes and commands we were using were outdated. So with the new ORP, Circle CI or 2.0 that we're using, new build process, and the changes that I covered in the platform quality and security update earlier, we were able to address and fix those. So thanks for sharing that, Adrian. Paul, the same question for you. How comfortable are you with MojaLoop platform's quality and security process? Obviously, it's a constantly evolving thing, but we would like your insight and thoughts on that as well.
And I'm going to start by just saying it's a moving target. And the fact that MojaLoop is continuously adjusting, has got a very good foundation and keeps on improving on the quality makes me confident. So my confidence comes from this dynamic ongoing process, not from really where we are, because we always need to be further when it comes to security. But the process is solid, and that gives me confidence. Yeah, to say that this is all we need in a deployment is incorrect too. The type of tests that I was talking about, I think, are critical in a deployment, but some of those clearly are the responsibilities of the CI team to ensure. So I think MojaLoop does give us the sort of correct foundation for that. In terms of next PI, where it should go, I think we've got good standards. I would like to see it including a bigger coverage. Like the MojaLoop connector is a prime example. It's not deployed in the hub, but it is deployed and used by multiple participants. And has become really the standard way that people are connecting into MojaLoop. So having that meet the same level of quality would be fantastic. So it really slowly but surely include more into this envelope of quality that you run would be my advice.
I agree. Thank you, Paul. So I have a last question, and then we'll let you go, Paul. Maybe we'll start with you while you're on. Any advice for current or future implementers that you have, and do you have any other advice that we haven't covered in the question so far?
Yes, I think so. The first piece of advice for sort of system integrators is don't underestimate the uh, the size of or the scope of the problem here. The application itself is probably less than 50% of the problem. It's all around the deployment and the infrastructure. And so invest in infrastructure as code. Put the time and effort into those processes like the testing and the quality assurance and the CI processes. And participate and contribute to MojaLoop. We're all here to improve the platform, and if we continue to improve, then together the community will withstand the storm of the quality challenge that is inevitable in the AI age that we're in. From a doctor's point of view, I would say look closely at the pipeline. The pipeline is your safety net. So the CI/CD and the deployment and the testing maturity is really a critical part of your deployment. So I would say go there and make sure you have visibility of it. Then obviously general advice, start with the end in mind. If you understand the performance that you need to get, make sure that the platform is designed and appropriate for the end goal. And soft launch is critical. It just start off small and slowly increase the effectiveness of the deployment. I think it is a general process that we use and definitely helps eliminate some of the risk and makes each of the steps much easier and to manage.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, thanks for emphasizing those aspects of CI/CD and planning, operational readiness and awareness, and planning, I think, realistically. So appreciate your input there. Thank you so much for joining us again. We'll go to Adrian and then Bona and wrap up the Q&A.
I think for me, for adopters, and also for system integrators, I think again just join the work streams, especially the performance work stream. There's a lot of things that are discussed during those work stream that's not always talked about. And joining your work stream, yeah, even you just listen in, I think it's just a really valuable insight already.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Thanks, Adrian. More than the platform itself, I think the way to configure it, tune it, and operationalize it, I think adds a lot of value. So great advice. Thanks. Bonaparte, over to you. Thanks, Adrian, for joining us. Bon.
Thank you, Sam. For me, when it comes to advice to the integrators, I would say, just like Paul mentioned, invest heavily in the infrastructure around the MojaLoop itself. There is a lot that can go wrong when you move from one infrastructure to another, even though the core is still the same. So things like how you manage your network, how you manage your secrets, security configuration, and everything, they matter as much as the core. Another one that is a kind of lesson that we've also have learned ourselves is when it comes to load testing. Again, the core itself has been tested for a large number of TPS, but the configuration around it can change a lot, even go as below as not being able to do 50 when the platform itself have been tested for 2000. So make sure you invest in load testing. We've had a few bottlenecks related to database. So I would say have a very good DBA that is able to understand to the lowest level the database, because it quickly becomes a bottleneck. And then, of course, for all the bugs or the issues or the great improvements that are made throughout that process, make sure to contribute back to the community, because eventually everyone is going to meet the same problems later on. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Bona. Yeah, again, I think stressing operational readiness and testing the system to fit your needs. Yeah, I think can't stress that enough. Thank you so much for all your insights and thoughts sharing with us. Adrian, Bonaparte, Paul, thank you for joining us. I think we can let you go now. I appreciate your contributions.
Thanks for the opportunity, Sam.
Thank you. So I will go back to the slide deck for a bit as we wrap up this session. I won't go into some of these slides. I want to just highlight or talk about one slide, about one topic, and then I will pass on to Claude. A quick glimpse of where we are in terms of releases. We looked at a high-level release pipeline or roadmap, but we have 17.20, which is our latest release, and 17.30, which we are working on right now. And we have a future release we are looking for with Tiger Beetle as a version 18. It's not set in stone, but this is what it looks like right now. Our current focus right now are the below items, which will form the basis for our objectives for at least a couple of work streams moving forward on the core and releases side and the platform quality and security side. So currently iterating our MojaLoop 17.30 release candidate. Platform quality and security is a big part of it. But another low-key aspect of that is preparing for Tiger Beetle integration. There is a lot of refactoring that is ongoing, optimization and refactoring, which will make it easier for integrating Tiger Beetle and that code base to be included and be part of MojaLoop Central Ledger and the releases moving forward as well. So this is one of the things that's ongoing. There is also performance white paper workstream support that's going on that our team members are testing and iterating over those runs. Enhancements in quality and security. And any feedback that you have, for example, Paul mentioned focusing on including MojaLoop connector, SDK scheme adapter kind of services onto our quality and security umbrella to bring it to the same quality as our core services. So that's we are taking that as input. Thank you, Paul. If you have any such input and feedback, please do share with us and join us in our work streams as well. The core and releases in platform quality and security. Even if you cannot contribute on a day-to-day basis, it'll be good to stay up to date and look at the work that's ongoing and understand the various aspects of configuration, maintenance, vulnerability management, things like that. So apart from these, we are also looking at refactoring or overhauling is probably a word that may fit here, but there are a couple of issues at the design authority that are looking at refactoring how we deploy MojaLoop chart. So there are two of the issues there, and we might see the results of that these things may not be adopted right away, but initially we will test it out as a proof of concept kind of a thing. Share the observations back to the DA, and then if we decide, the DA decides to go forward with those, then we will adopt those in our Mojaloop releases. There's also a lot of work happening on the Mojaloop connection manager and identity management, and these will bear fruit soon and will be included in our IAC tools and in our releases as well, along with the deployment enhancements. So I will wrap it there. There are some links, so we will share this deck and I think the videos as well at some point later, but the decks we should be able to share those right away. The links and the various tables about Mojaloop resources, releases, things are all there. The links to the Mojaloop Slack channel, it just refactored and renamed to PI31 at this stage, but all the links are included in this deck as well.